and Erskine and Nita Larrock in Dubla, wishing them and everyone a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Même si vivre est top temps, I souhaite ça pour la bonne charbon. Moi de tout bon temps c'est pour aller. I souhaite ça pour la bonne charbon. Même si vivre est top temps.
Time check, it's 7 o'clock in the studios of DBS Radio. It's time to bring you this morning's morning news.
DBS News. Fresh in the morning. Eye-opening and balanced. The DBS Morning News starts right now.
This morning's headlines: the parliamentary representative for the Soufrière constituency, Denise Charles Pemberton, describes the death of former government minister Ian Pinard as a national loss. In Jamaica, new cannabis rules to remove barriers for small farmers. And news from the international scene: Iran closes Strait of Hormuz again over continued U.S. blockade of its ports. And the Windward Islands Under-19 cricket title to be decided in Dominica today. Details of the morning news right after this.
DBS Radio on the go. www.dbcradio.net. Click the play button at the top and you're good to go with the nation station, DBS Radio.
DBS News.
Welcome back to the DBS Major Morning News. My name is Curtis Matthew. The parliamentary representative for the Soufrière constituency, Denise Charles Pemberton, has described the death of former government minister Ian Pinard as a national loss. Mr. Pinard, the chief executive officer of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority and former parliamentary representative for Soufrière, died at his home in Pont Michel on Friday morning.
I lost a brother, a friend, and a comrade. We have known each other from the days we attended family parties as children, to working together at the La Salette Cooperative Credit Union, to our tenure at Petro-Carib, to serving as his campaign manager in the 2014 elections, and witnessing his role as CEO of Dominica Air and Seaport Authority. Our friendship spans a lifetime, and his death comes as a total shock to his family, friends, the Soufrière constituency, and the nation. Ian was the former parliamentary representative of the Soufrière constituency, one of the kindest, most selfless, and humble persons I know. Nothing was too much for him to do for any human being, party, or country. He gave years of dedicated service, always committed to the development of his community and country. His contribution and presence will be remembered by many whose lives he touched. He has left us so suddenly, but his memory shall live on in our constituency, and we shall find a way to remember him permanently. Today, we pause as a constituency to remember his life and legacy, a devoted father, brother, friend, and a true son of the soil. Through his service, kindness, and unwavering commitment, he made a meaningful impact that will not be forgotten. This is not only a national loss, but a deeply personal one. And today, we grieve, reflect, and honor his memory. On behalf of the people of the Soufriere constituency, I extend sincere condolences to his family, loved ones, and the staff of DASPER. Goodbye, our Mr. P. May your soul rest in peace.
And that's the parliamentary representative for the Soufriere constituency, Dennis Charles Pemberton. Meantime, the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority is mourning the death of its chief executive officer, Ian Pinard, chairman of the board of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Bless Jones.
I heard the news this morning myself, and I certainly could not believe it. Mr. Pinard and we had a very cordial meeting yesterday, and Pinard, in his usual style, was very jovial, and I had no indication that he was not well. When I left the meeting, he headed for another meeting at the airport site. Next I heard was this morning that he had passed. He passed at his home early this morning. We were on a journey. It was a wonderful journey. Pinard came in. He followed up from where Mr. Bardwell left off. These are two different individuals. He had his own style, and people were beginning to fall in line with his ideals and his idea. And he was very focused. Obviously, some persons did not like his style, but the rank and file, I believe, fell in line, and they saw where he was headed, and the board gave him full support all along. Well, I think he gave the managers a little more power. He empowered them to take over their departments. That released him from certain decisions. The managers had a role to play, and I think he gave them the wherewithal and the latitude to perform that role.
And that's the chairman of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Bless Jones. Operations manager at the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Miss Lynn Valerie, says the loss of Mr. Pinard is a blow for the institution.
Mr. Pinard was such an inspiring leader. He brought great change to that spa. And I can say we, general staff of DASPA and management, we really look forward to great things at DASPA with he at the helm. I haven't even really started processing it because we spoke yesterday and we also saw a meeting first thing this morning. So I was hurrying in to make sure when he come that we would meet. We had a very important meeting. I want to just remember him as that person really being that motivator, that go-getter, getting things done, working with his management team and staff. And one unique thing about him, he was very much in touch with every staff from management to every status of staff you can think of. And every morning especially, first thing, most mornings, he would ensure that he comes down to the operations department. He would go from office to office, shed to shed, and meet every staff in the offices, the shed they had, to know what's going on. He's right there with us.
Operations manager at the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Miss Lynn Valerie. Joanne Gies is PR and communication specialist at DASPER.
It's really hard this morning getting this news, and Mr. Pinard wasn't just a general manager to us. He was a mentor. He was a person we looked up to. He impacted the staff in a way that we did not expect in such little time that he was with us. And I mean, for me personally, knowing Mr. Pinard for over 20 years, not just as the general manager on the port, it's something that is hard. Getting that news this morning and, knowing that the impact that he had on the staff while he was there, to see the staff come together in this sad time. It's sad news this morning. It's a sad day for us here, but we have come to hold on and depend on each other for the strength that we need. And I think that is what he would have wanted us to do, lean on each other for the strength to go through this and continue the work that he started here and to bring the authority forward and to bring it to where it needs to be.
Joanne Gies, the PR and communication specialist at DASPER. speaking to DBS News on Friday morning. Meantime, the government of Dominica has expressed profound sadness at the passing of former government minister and distinguished public servant Ian Pinard. He served as parliamentary representative for Soufriere, including the communities of Soufriere, Scott's Head, Gallion, and Point Michel. He was first elected to Parliament in 2005 and re-elected in 2014, representing his constituents' interests with distinction at the national level. During his time in government, Mr. Pinard was first Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education and then Minister for Public Works and Ports with responsibility for road infrastructure and port operation. Following his tenure in elected office, Pinard continued to contribute to national development in executive roles including Petrocaribe Dominica and most recently the Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority. The government of Dominica says he will be remembered as a dedicated public servant who carried out his responsibilities with quiet determination and a strong sense of duty. The government says it honors its commitment to the people he served, particularly in the Soufriere constituency, and his contribution to national development. The government extends condolences to his family, friends, former constituents, and colleagues. Outgoing president of the National Youth Council of Dominica, Fael Lander, is calling on young people across the island to actively engage in the election process for a new executive for the National Youth Council. Nominations for the National Youth Council of Dominica officially closed yesterday. The elections will be held during the General Assembly of the National Youth Council of Dominica on Saturday, May 16.
Now is the time for young people to step forward, ask questions, and truly engage with the ideas being presented. This is more than an election. It is an opportunity to shape the direction of youth leadership and ensure that the voices of young people are represented with strength, clarity, and purpose. These elections are not just about positions. They are about purpose. The individuals elected, they will carry the responsibility of representing an entire generation, influencing policy and building partnerships that drive meaningful change. I encourage every young person to take ownership of this moment and be part of the conversation.
And that's the outgoing president of the Dominica National Youth Council, Fael Lander. Other news this morning, the police have outlined new parking arrangements to accommodate patrons for this year's Jazz and Creole. The 15th edition of the event will take place on May 3 at the Cabritz National Park in Portsmouth.
Public parking will be on the Bell Hall Road and extending southwards towards the town of Portsmouth, Glanville, and Picard. No parking will be allowed on the Michael Douglas Boulevard from Longhouse Junction to Borough Square. Bay Street from the Borough Square to Lagon Bridge will be one-way traffic traveling northwards. Harbour Lane will be a one-way traffic traveling southwards. Vehicular traffic rather traveling southwards from Purple Turtle, Lagon Main Road, will on reaching the Lagon Bridge turn left onto the road leading to Portsmouth Secondary School, that's the PSS. Take a right turn and exit on Harbour Lane or Rodney Street. Parking only will be allowed on Harbour Lane. One-lane parking only will be allowed on Bay Street.
And that's the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Aline Maxime. In Jamaica, the Chief Executive Officer of the Cannabis Licensing Authority, Farah Blake, is confident that recent changes to the regulations governing Jamaica's medicinal cannabis industry, it will widen access for small-scale farmers and strengthen the country's participation in the global market. Blake singled out the special community permit, which allows farmers to operate collectively and removes application fees. Finally, this morning, Iran's military says it will close the Strait of Hormuz again in response to the U.S. maintaining its blockade. Iran's foreign minister said last night that the Strait of Hormuz would completely open to commercial ships for the remainder of the ceasefire. Shortly after, the U.S. President Donald Trump said the strait was completely open and ready for business, but that the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports would continue until a peace deal is reached. It is approaching 15 minutes after 7 o'clock. That's the news. Don't go away. The sports bulletin comes up shortly.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Here's a quick tip from NBD.
A quick tip from the National Bank of Dominica Limited. Scammers may send fake emails or texts. Remember, NBD will never ask you to reset your mobile banking password or share your card PIN, CVV, or other sensitive information this way. Stay alert. Stay secure. When in doubt, contact NBD, your partner, your bank.
Let's begin the DBS Morning Sports Report with football news. The women's senior national football team will be looking to end their campaign in the CONCACAF Women's World Cup qualifiers on a positive note as they play their final match tonight. The Dominica team will be up against Central American powerhouse Nicaragua in their final encounter in Nicaragua tonight. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock this evening, Caribbean time. Dominica earlier this week picked up its first points in the group with a 1-1 draw with Antigua in St. Lucia. Despite the draw, Dominica sits at the bottom of the group. Jamaica tops the group with 9 points. Nicaragua and Guyana are on 6. Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica are on 1 point each. So Dominica will be up against Nicaragua in their final match tonight. The 2026 Winlot Windward Islands Under-19 cricket title will be decided today on the last day of the competition, with defending champions Dominica and St. Lucia in the hunt for the championship this morning. The weather robbed both teams of an opportunity to take a clear advantage yesterday, with Dominica's scheduled match against St. Lucia at the Geneva playing field was abandoned without a ball being bowled due to a wet outfield. Dominica will play St. Vincent this morning at Benjamin's Park, while St. Lucia plays Grenada at Geneva playing field. St. Lucia will be crowned champions if they beat Grenada, while Dominica will retain the championship with a win over St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and if Grenada beats St. Lucia. Very interesting day today in the Windward Islands Under-19 tournament. The final day, Dominica has a chance to retain the title. St. Lucia themselves can also win the title. We'll be keeping a very close eye on the final day of the tournament in Dominica today. Some netball news. The National Under-16 netball team ended their run in the Caribbean Netball Association Jean-Pierre Under-16 tournament with a win as they beat Antigua in their final match Friday in Trinidad. Dominica entered the match with 4 defeats from 5 games, but outplayed Antigua to take the 21-11 win in the final match. Dominica ended the tournament with 2 wins and 4 defeats in the 6 matches played in the tournament. In basketball, The Dominica State College and St. Mary's Academy all registered victories as the Sports Division Secondary Schools basketball tournament continued Friday. The Dominica State College boys blew past the PHL Secondary School 91-45. The top scorers for Dominica State College were Nigel George, 27 points, Kioma Telemac, 25, and Zachary Julian, 20 points. Meantime, the St. Mary's Academy scored an easy 73-49 win over Northeast Comprehensive. The top scorers for St. Mary's Academy were Mariano Blanc with 26 points, Dylan Grant 13. And in the girls division, the Northeast Comprehensive School picked up a comfortable 47-38 win over the Portsmouth Secondary School. Sarah Laura scored 37 points for Northeast Comprehensive, while for the Portsmouth Secondary School, Talitha Stewart scored 20 points. Granford Primary School and the Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Wharton Waven team combined schools are into the finals of the National Bank of Dominica Sports Division, Primary Schools Boys Development Division. The two schools advance following playoff action Friday at Newton Savannah. The Granford Primary School secured the top seed, winning all their matches, beating Soufriere Primary 5-1, and the Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Wharton Waven 1-0 in their matches. Meanwhile, Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Wharton Waven advanced to the final, coming from a goal down to win 3-2 over the Soufriere Primary School. Trafalgar Combined School captain Romeo Christopher was happy with the fight back.
At first when they scored, I didn't feel there was no hope for us coming back. But until we keep playing, pushing hard, we just come back and we win, and here we are in the finals.
All right, so you had to really rally the guys. What did you say to them? Because Soufriere scored first. So what did you say to them to get them back into the game?
We have to lock in, pay attention, pass the ball, and everything, shoot, everything, just lock in.
So how happy are you with the overall performance of your guys?
Very happy. I'm very happy and proud.
So you're into the finals and you'll be playing Granford in the finals. Granford beating you guys earlier on. So what did you take from that experience and what will be hoping to do differently next game?
I learned for us to keep pushing more, passing more, everything more. We just have to learn from our mistakes, everything we've learned, for us to push harder and win the finals.
And that's Trafalgar, Mont Prosper, Wharton Waven School captain Romeo Christopher. Soufriere Primary finished in third place. The finals will take place next week. Some basketball news now. DABA President Donnie Robinson says games could be played in Paybush, Trafalgar, Pichelin, Granby, and Windsor Park for the upcoming national basketball season. The season officially gets underway tonight. Robinson says that once the DABA plans on hosting games in the Out District, once the venues are ready.
Decentralizing basketball is one of the pillars. And the end result of decentralizing basketball, or one of the end results of decentralizing basketball, was to have outside of Rose or national champions. And we've done that. Our key objective is to bring games to the Out District. That remains an objective. This year is the only year that we have funds, and what we are going to use the government funds for is for basketball development. We're not going to use it to run the league. So it's not going to be to pay championships. It's going to be to put programs in place and put the infrastructure in place that we can control in terms of making sure the courts are painted properly, making sure that we have power at the facility, even if it's a mobile generator, so we can have those games. And our fixtures this year, every month we'll have 1 or 2 Sundays where games are assigned to 3 or 4 locations, and it's going to be the Windsor Park, it's going to be Paybush, we have Trafalgar, Pichelin/Granby districts. So these are the 4 targeted areas for now. Now, the fact that we are building it into our schedule says that we have the commitment. We have now some preliminary funding. There's an expense to take the games out, and that was one of the things I was crying about last season. There's actually a genuine expense to run a game.
And that's the president of the Dominica Amateur Basketball Association, DABA, Donnie Robinson. Well, the 2026 season will open tonight at the Massac Indoor Facility from 6 o'clock. Windward Island Volcanoes head coach Kenroy Peters has called on his players to do some reflection as they get set to face Guyana in the second round of matches in the Cricket West Indies Regional 4-day tournament. The Windwards are coming off a 4-wicket defeat in the first match earlier this week. The two sides will meet again Sunday in the second match in Antigua.
Well, it's about reflecting. Reflection is very important. I think as a batting group, we have to look at where we went wrong. Partnerships, we probably needed more partnership. At the start, we need to be a bit tighter with the new ball. We know the ability and the potential and the skill that Joseph brings. And we know once we can play to our strengths and force him, even though being experienced, force him to do something outside of his character. That's one area that we have to capitalize in, being patient and also mentally. Yes, it's a quick turnover, not much days for training, but a lot of days for mental preparation. And we have to look back at where we went wrong. We have to be honest with ourselves. Accountability is important as well. So each player needs to focus on their strengths, mentally I'm talking about, and see where they went wrong so that in the next game we can actually be mentally ready for the battle, especially with the strengthening bowling attack of Guyana.
And that's the Windward Island Volcanoes head coach, Kenroy Peters. The Volcanoes have lost their last 6 matches against Guyana, and Guyana is expected to be boosted with the return of West Indies fast bowler Shama Joseph. Peters says he does not believe that the struggles against Guyana are psychological.
I don't think it's affecting us mentally. As I said again, I think it boils down to execution and being patient. I think sometimes that we relax a bit too long, if that makes sense. And then with the experience of the Happy Eagles, they have been here many times, so they will know. It's like deja vu. They have been there before, they have seen it before, and they will be able to capitalize on any moment that they see they can creep back into the game. And I think that's what happened today. Well, in this game, that they got moments where they got a chance to get back into the game, and which they did.
And that's the Windward Island Volcanoes head coach, Kenroy Peters. That, too, is a look at the DBS major morning news and sports. Let's remind you, 1:15, another newscast on DBS. That will be done by Leila Langford, 1:15 today. Let's remind you, 9 o'clock this morning, the program Connecting the Dots. We have in the house a health practitioner in the house. Today at 9 o'clock, Nigel Francis and Ivona John Baptist Luge will bring you the program. Dr. Victor Emmanuel, he has been in the field for well over 38 years, and he's going to be on DBS today. It may well be the first time Dr. Victor Emmanuel is coming to DBS. You don't want to miss the program this morning. Connecting the Dots, Ivona John Baptist Luge and Nigel Francis will bring you the program 9 o'clock this morning, Connecting the Dots on DBS Radio. Well, that too is a look at the morning news. We'll bring you more news at 1:15 on behalf of the news and sports departments and our link person, Joseph Fadul, Curtis Matthew, saying good morning.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Here's a quick tip from NB. NBD.
A quick tip from the National Bank of Dominica Limited. Scammers may send fake emails or texts. Remember, NBD will never ask you to reset your more banking password or share your card PIN, CVV, or other sensitive information this way. Stay alert. Stay secure. When in doubt, contact NBD, your partner, your bank.
Let's bring you this morning's edition of the Insert of the Package on your nation station, DBS Radio. This morning's edition of the Insert of the Package is brought to you compliments of our good friends at A&A Low Price Center.
A&A Low Price Center in the village of Calabishi offers the best prices for the freshest products ever. One-stop convenient shopping at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi. For your foods, your everyday needs, snacks, liquor, dry goods, and more. Just about everything located in the flat of Calabishi, directly in the center of the village. Come to A&A Low Price Center on the highway in Calabishi. A&A Low Price Center is family owned and operated. It is fully computerized, VAT compliant, low toll, credit card and top-up capabilities. Stop at A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi today or call 445-7655. Drop us an email at aanalowprice@gmail.com. A&A Low Price Center in Calabishi open 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Visit us today. Just walk in and be happy you did.
Well, this morning's edition of the Insert of the Package is coming from the morning's newscast, where the outgoing president of the National Youth Council of Dominica, Firelander, is calling on young people across the island to actively engage in the election process of a new executive for the council. Nominations for the National Youth Council of Dominica closed on Friday. The elections will be held during the General Assembly of the National Youth Council of Dominica next month.
Now is the time for young people to step forward, ask questions, and truly engage with the ideas being presented. This is more than election. It is an opportunity to shape the direction of youth leadership and ensure that the voices of young people are represented with strength, clarity, and purpose. These elections are not just about positions. They are about purpose. The individuals elected, they will carry the responsibility of representing an entire generation, influencing policy and building partnerships that drive meaningful change. I encourage every young person to take ownership of this moment and be part of the conversation.
And that was outgoing president of the National Youth Council, Firelander. That was the insert of the package right here on your nation station, DBS Radio. Let's now bring you this morning's edition of the Weather Report. This morning's edition of the Weather Report was brought to you compliments of our good friends at Big Edge and Flow.
Weather information a part of your daily life. Listen to the Weather Report after the morning news and at 1:10 p.m. daily on DBS Radio. A message from the Dominica Meteorological Service, your trusted source for weather information.
You've got the edge over your circumstances. Many times there'll be trials to face. At least when it comes to your waning finances, you've got the edge. Help is coming your way. You've got Big Edge for those days when you're running low. Big Edge is the place to go. Big Edge, the cash can be in your hand with the easiest payment plan. Cash in a flash.
Bundle and watch $98 flow back into your pocket. It's simple. Just add mobile to broadband and save big with Flow. Get fiber fast Wi-Fi at home and all the data you need on the go. We've got you covered everywhere. So what are you waiting for? It's connection times 2 and up to $98 in savings for you. Add mobile to broadband today and take your connection to the next level. Visit in-store or online at discoverflow.co for more details.
I will say a special good morning to Keisha Dubik with this morning's edition of the Weather Report on your nation station DBS Radio. Keisha Dubik, good morning to you.
Good morning. The weather report from the Dominica Meteorological Service at Douglas Charles Airport for today, Saturday 18th April, as recorded at 7 a.m. Today's weather is expected to be mostly cloudy and breezy at times with scattered showers. Conditions at Douglas Airport were cloudy with showers in the vicinity. Surface winds west-southwesterly at 3 knots or 6 kilometers per hour. Present temperature 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Yesterday's rainfall was 8.2 millimeters, and the total rainfall for the month so far is 160.1 millimeters. The sun will set today at 6:21 p.m. and rise tomorrow at 5:48 a.m. The next high tide today will be at 4:53 p.m. and the low tides will be at 10:21 a.m. and 9:47 p.m.